I guess I could answer that and let Mark add in as he sees fit. But I would say we just met as friends through the music community. I was in another band, or I am in another band, and met Mark through that band. He joined briefly, and we were making music together, but it was of a different genre. It was more like punk, goth, dark punk type of stuff. And when the pandemic happened, we decided, let's do something together since we're already always hanging out. You can't really, we couldn't really just be out openly hanging out. It was during quarantine time. So we decided to just start something new that we had never, either one of us hadn't really done before. And that's how it started. Mark?
Yeah, that band is called Vueltas. They're really excellent. Disappeared.
You have to move forward.
Yeah, it's quite of an immersive experience, let's say.
Yeah, and Vueltas is fantastic. So look that up. Yeah, we started in 2020. We both really like classic industrial music, and so we thought it'd be a good opportunity while we're not doing anything else to try and see if we could put together something compelling, and here we are now.
And here we are. Nice. Okay. And did you have any influence from any type of artists or bands when you decided on the concept of Puerta Negra? Because I understand you also shifted a bit from the goth punk to more dark wave, EBM. How were you influenced, and by which artists or what movement, let's say?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap, and things like Skinny Puppy, early Wax Tracks, Drill Go Cult stuff, early Ministry, stuff like that. I also Cabaret Voltaire is a big one for me. Manufacture, so many really great artists sort of paved the way for both of us in common. I think also like trying to think of the early stuff that we were like sharing back and forth, like Microchip League and what was that other one? The
Camouflage.
Yeah. It was like a cover. This is a cover of that Harley Davidson song. What was it?
Oh, Bullock Brothers.
That's the one.
Hey.
Yeah, no, but also, punk music, because we both came like into music also through punk. And so bands like Sacrilege with like strong vocals that inspired the way that we brought the music forward and kind of like informed the vocals a little bit as well.
Okay, speaking of the vocals, there is a question we got from the audience. Is there any unusual instrument that you used in whichever of your productions since you started the band?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think I was like really experimenting a lot with percussion sounds, and sometimes just like sampling hitting some random thing and trying to wedge that into a song somehow to get slightly different palette or whatever, but nothing specifically that I would call an instrument exactly.
Do you have a particular ritual or habit before going on stage? How is it before going on stage? What do you usually do, or what makes you go into the vibe? Or are you always in the same vibe?
Good question.
Speaking for myself, I think I, especially on show days, try to just kind of arrive at the venue, and as soon as we are done, like loading in and sound checking and all that stuff, I just basically try to kind of hang out with my friends, talk to people, meet people. That kind of gets me a little bit more into kind of like the mindset of performing, and kind of getting to know a little bit more of who's in the audience. So that way, sometimes I can look out for them or like sing to them, interact. I like to like jump out into the crowd sometimes. So I want to know like I'm looking for someone that I want to talk with or hang out with while I'm singing. Yeah, that's one thing that I like to do. And it keeps it fun. I'm usually in that mindset. I'm usually in like the fun, kind of talking to people, hanging out type of vibe when I'm at a show anyway.
Okay, nice.
What
So
about the sunglasses?
let's
Oh
see if
yeah,
you're
the
gonna jump in the
sunglasses.
crowd in Ombra this year.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And it depends on how
cool.
tall the stage is.
We're gonna be on it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you, Mark?
I don't have any special pre-show ritual. I'm always kind of ready to, turn
Really get
to
on it.
performance mode, I guess.
I do like to have a hot toddy, which is
Mm.
like a hot drink that has liquor in it and honey. And yeah.
How did you call it?
Hot toddy.
Hot
That's
toddy.
what it's, yeah.
Okay. Is it on the rider for Ombra Festival? Did you add it there?
We
So
might.
It will be.
That's a good
yeah,
idea.
please add it. Yeah. What challenges have you faced as a band? Did you face any yeah, I think every group mostly nowadays is facing challenges. How do you choose to look at them? How did you overcome a challenge or um, an obstacle, let's say?
That's a really interesting question. Never been asked that one before. Trying to think of any particular challenges. I think getting, starting from scratch with a new project is always challenging. Putting yourself out there and seeing if other people can relate to it or find it compelling. But yeah, I think we've been extraordinarily lucky that it has resonated with a lot of people. Um, and so I think that has opened a lot of doors for us and, getting to meet a lot of really great people, both, on the fan side and also on the sort of, getting to do releases with labels and such. I mean, I feel like it's been really fortunate to have these opportunities.
It hasn't really felt particularly challenging at all. It's almost felt like things have landed or come into place. Um, and it hasn't felt like there has ever really been like some type of huge force or something kind of as an obstacle. It feels like it's come along thankfully
In your favor. Good.
smoothly. Yeah, which
That's
has been
great.
great.
How do you see the future of the scene going, and where do you see Puerta Negra in the future of post-punk, of dark wave genres, of dark wave scene?
Well, I think the scene's better kind of than it ever has been, at least as long as I've been around, just a minute. And I think that's great because it does give a lot of people and artists and like a platform to connect with other people and to be able to sustain itself during that process is amazing. And I think we're really happy to be part of that in any way, moving forward.
Yeah, hopefully we can just continue reaching more people and playing more countries and just meeting just all kinds of different artists and participating in different festivals around the world. Those I would hope to continue to do that as the scene grows and as we just kind of grow into it too, because we're a little bit newer, 2020. So as time progresses, hopefully we can just continue to be part of the scene and continue to be contributing something positive with like a good message.
Great, that's great. So we hope to see you constantly on the stage, and in our headphones and in our musical library. So you mentioned that the stage, the scene is right in a very good moment, maybe since a long time. Going back to the 80s, let's say we can have a time machine and you wake up in the 80s. What are the first, I don't know, maybe 3 things that you do? Or where do you go, to whom you want to reach? What would you do?
I did live in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't think I will
But
ask
yeah.
you how old are you, but
25. No, wow, that's a good question. I'm a huge fan of dancing, and that's one of my biggest inspirations. Like we were talking about earlier, all of the bands that we have named, basically also bands that have kind of like got us into making music. And I think one of the driving forces is always for me has been like dancing. So I would love to go to like, you know, the Batcave, or go and meet bands that I really loved, especially from that era, like 80s era, The Cure. It would be like, I would love to go to all of their shows, and like on the Pornography tour, and just hang out and get Robert Smith's secrets for having the best hair, and just,
ah,
you know, hang out and meet them, and, you know, all kinds of bands from that era, you know, just, I think that's the first thing I would do, is go to a bunch of shows, you know?
and maybe try to create a show with them.
Yeah,
Stage from that time. Yeah, that would be
definitely.
great. And you, Mark?
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I've thought about this a couple of times. There's like different moments, especially in the US, where there's certain cities which had some primal sort of energy going on. New York in the early 80s, San Francisco punk scene in the early 80s, LA punk scene early 80s. I'd say also Austin, Texas had a lot of cool stuff going on at that time as well. There's a lot of, and all different genres. So
Be traveling a lot.
yeah, just get in the van.
Have you ever created a song based on a dream or on a nightmare?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's a couple of ways to answer that. It's like, it's pretty, like I usually do the music production side. Maria usually does the vocal writing, lyrics writing, and like vocal arrangement side of things. And I think that there's two very clear paths during to which like nightmares or dreams could fuel both of those things. So for me on the like music side, I think the song we have, Cuerpo, that was probably one which had like a bit of a, I don't know if I would call it a nightmare exactly, but it was like a weird dream. I'm not sure how to describe it. That one kind of came out of that feeling of waking up and having like something in to get out.
Okay.
That was the feeling there.
Yeah, as far as the writing and the lyrics and even the arrangement of the vocals, pretty much every one of the songs is based on like nightmares that we're all living today, due to like
Society.
society,
Yeah.
exactly. So everything is, if you kind of sit down and read what we're saying, all of it is pretty nightmarish, dystopian, very dark. Yeah, so that's a lot of nightmare fuel.
Waking nightmares.
I think that's why many people identify themselves, right, with your music, and that's how you get your community, your
Yeah,
your
that
fans.
would be amazing if everyone sat down and read the lyrics and was like, whoa, like I can definitely remember a time feeling like this because of whatever we're living through. Everyone, a collective feeling of understanding the lyrics and being able to identify.
Speaking about lyrics, do you think there is a difference between expressing yourself, Puerta Negra music, for example, in Spanish or in English? Do you think it weighs differently? Do you think the message is received differently by the people who listen, or no? How do you see the language balance with the music?
I do feel that there's a difference, and I do feel like presenting it with words that I have been speaking since I was a kid, and words that family and people that I identify with can understand, versus singing in English when a lot of my family and a lot of the people that I grew up with wouldn't understand it in English, because they don't speak English. So there's a part of it that I'm singing to certain people about certain things that they would understand because of the language, and there's no division whereas a lot of people may enjoy electronic music, but most of it is in English and they don't understand what they're saying in songs. There's
Yeah,
a
you just
bridge,
go with
you
the
know.
vibe that it transmits, that the artist
Yeah.
plays
And on
transmits.
the other side of it, there's a lot of people that don't speak Spanish and speak other languages, but identify with the music because of the sounds versus the lyrics. And so, yeah, I think it does make a difference. And I think especially because of the subject matter that we're talking about and the things that we're saying it in English probably wouldn't have the same effect.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree, and that's why I was curious what's an
Yeah,
artist
it's a good question.
opinion. Yeah. Let's see what other tricky questions we have here.
I think a lot of the feeling that we were having when we were writing those songs and it was all coming together. Playa Sola is kind of like a deserted beach, right? After some type of catastrophic, event that happens and there's no life left and the beach is alone, no living thing there. So I think maybe like any type of post-apocalyptic movie, which Mark and I are really into, that type of film. Like the basics, like you would think something like Blade Runner, or you would think like A Boy and His Dog, or anything in the future where it's just a wasteland. As kind of what fueled a lot of the lyrics and the content for me. What do you think, Monk?
Yeah, I think that science fiction dystopia / post-apocalyptic vibe definitely is yeah, the sort of driving visual imagery behind all of the writing that went into that release.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a progression from Costo Humano, because Costo Humano, if you look at it, especially on the cover, kind of telling the story and the lyrics and the songs, what they're about is kind of like the end of times, or something coming to an end, expecting that catastrophic thing to happen that ends life. And then Playa Sola is after that explosion, after everything's said and done, and like what you have left after that. So it's kind of like that progression.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I feel like I draw a lot from visual art and film a lot. Like the feeling of or moods that are conveyed by visual art or film, any images, tends to have a big impact on the the sound palette or the approach to writing in tone that I'm trying to accomplish. So I think, yeah, drawing heavily on the feelings sort of elicited by those types of imagery really has a big influence on the way.
So in Ombra Festival, let's bring a bit the spotlight here. With which artists you would like to share the stage, for example, and in the same time, because that's another question, with what artist you would share the studio. So what featurings, what collabs would you like having, and also what with whom would you like to share the stage?
Yeah, great
Ooh,
question.
so many.
Yeah.
There's a
We're
lot. I
really,
told you there's 19 questions, but I'm trying to
yeah, we're really
summarize it.
fortunate to have a lot of great peers we played with already, or friends that we made in the last couple of years, going out and playing shows and stuff. You know, I think, I mean, especially in Costa Humana, we work very closely with Susan Subtract from High Functioning Flesh and Physical Wash, who you all know. And on the second release, we worked with Mattia from Infinite Power Studios, which is also like a pretty great figure to work with. And then for other artists, I mean, there's so many. I mean,
So many. It's kind of like a huge list of people that we
Insane.
would love to work with. We would love to do remixes with. We would love to do songs with. Studios we'd like to work with. It's a long, long list. But I think one of them that comes to mind a lot for me is just like the energy and seeing them live is like a band like Spike Hellis, who I feel like would be really fun to work with and also are just amazing. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. They had an amazing closure this year in Ombra.
Yeah.
Really,
Uh,
yeah.
you know, as far as what we're working on in the moment and what we're trying to kind of like accomplish and some goals is a full length, and we're working on that currently. Do you want to add anything more?
Yeah, that's right. Yep, we're working on new material. Hopefully to record an album this year. Yeah, a little bit later in the year.
Are you
Got some new
planning to
songs
release it
set.
until Ombra? So are we gonna have a first audition in Ombra? Can we say that?
I mean, there
Early?
will definitely be plenty of new songs in the set by that point. We have one currently, and there are many
Yeah.
more coming. So it'll be a lot of new material by the time Oráculo rolls around.
Yeah,
Okay.
so kind of, yeah, we're gonna be trying them out on you.
Yes, bring it on, bring it on. Yeah, we cannot wait.
Definitely.
We're definitely excited to listen to every new material that you have.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel like the size of the venue is what channels any energy or a certain energy. I think it's like the vibe of the crowd and how they're receiving it, because we've played like really small shows and really small bars, but every single person that was there was dancing and enjoying it and having a good time, and that felt like it feels like you're in a huge auditorium with a bunch of people when people are singing your lyrics back, even if it's a small crowd or a
Right.
small bar, so I think it's more for me what influences the performance or what kind of changes the approach is the response, that we're getting, especially because I'm telling you, I like to go into the crowd, have a good time, play, like interact, sing to people, and that I can usually do that more comfortably in a smaller place,
Right.
and usually goes it usually kind of feeds the energy to be able to do something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I also believe it's a closer feeling to the artist, and you also see the artist quite close from wherever you are in the room. And I think you can get a better connection also with the audience themselves being in a more intimate space or smaller space like a big venue. But of course, big venues are okay. Also, you're gonna have a
Yeah, well, yeah,
in
because we've
Ombra
also played
now.
bigger venues where everyone is also really into it, and like that is such an amazing experience. So it really doesn't even matter like the size, if it's a big place or a small place. More than anything, it's just kind of like, are people into it? Are we reaching? Are we like connecting? Are they feeling what we're trying to do? Are they understanding kind of like where we're coming from? And then from that point is what makes the experience super complete for me, or for us when we're on stage. But yeah, a big audience and a big venue is obviously an amazing experience. And we're, yeah, super
And we're
excited about
way
that.
different. Yeah, way different.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, for the most part, I mean, I have a room in the house that is kind of dedicated practice space slash studio, so I can usually get away and write pretty well, as opposed to like a proper recording studio. I think both are fun, but I never write in the studio, like the recording studio setting. By that point, we've already like done everything, so kind of writing at home for the most part.
So you write at
I think
home and then you produce in the studio. You put it in sound.
Yeah.
Good. You?
I anywhere. I could be anywhere. It could happen at any time. Yeah, just like I see something, I hear something, I'm reading something, I'm watching something, I'm like having a certain experience somewhere, and I just think back, or I have a memory or a flashback of something from my childhood or stories that my elders told me or something, and I just have a moment where I just start writing things down, and like ideas, themes, lyrics, it could pretty much happen anywhere.
So basically, your inspiration flow, let's say, it comes with the writing and not with the sound. You always create the story and then you add sound to it. You never have, you don't think about a sound, let's say, and to add lyrics to it, to create the story for it. You create the lyrics first and then you add the sound.
We've done both. So yeah, like so it just depends, I guess. But yeah, that's a great point. We have actually done both, now that I think about it, where I bring an idea or kind of like a theme or something to that effect, and then we're adding song as we go, or I like communicate with Mark. Mark shows me something he's working on, and in between those beginning steps of that song, I'll be somewhere else and I'll be thinking about it or listening back to it, and kind of going back and forth,
This is an interesting one as well. Do you have any songs that you or a song or songs that you wouldn't put out there? Is there any track that you would like to keep hidden forever?
Nah, I don't mean, not for me.
Uh,
I think
no.
everything that yeah, before anything gets to that stage, I think we already been it. So
Yeah, I think so too. I think by the time that a song is written, completed, it's at that stage because we really thought it was something that we could share. Yeah.
Okay, so good. No, yeah. Yeah, because sometimes there are some artists at one point and they're like, yeah, no, I don't want to put that out there. I don't want people to see it.
maybe
So
10 years from now.
Yeah, wow, right?
yeah, you
Some
never know.
outtakes. A strange track.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Maybe we'll give it some thought or write a strange one, so that in the future, if we get asked that question,
We were to the strangest song and then cut off.
Cut.
It was
Yeah.
Cut.
So we were talking about the strangest song and that you want to write one just to have an answer, but then we still need to have an opinion about one that is already produced.
Okay. I wouldn't say strange. I would just say unique in what the way that for me, approached the songwriting as far as from a lyrical standpoint, and that would be No Olvidado, which is the story of a young man who dies trying to cross the border from Mexico into the United States, and just watching interviews about how his family was searching for him, and in the interviews, his mother describes how she saw him in her dreams, and he was telling her, kind of guiding her as to where they would be able to find his body, and gave a pretty clear description in her dreams of where they could find him. And it's a very vast desert, like huge span. And so there are groups dedicated to recovering remains in the desert, just because it's such a huge humanitarian issue, right? And so, yeah, I think that watching those things and kind of being able to understand a little bit about the background of each person that is kind of like recovered in the desert has a story, and writing a story kind of from the I guess from the perspective of the person who has died, it was kind of a little bit of a different approach for me. And the song is like really serious subject matter as well. And so not necessarily strange, but just something that's a little bit unorthodox. Yeah, for the way that I usually write, a little bit more abstract. This was very specific.
Wow. Okay, that's That's heavy.
Yeah, it's very
And
heavy. Yeah.
right now, listening to you, I remember I was in a museum, and there's this street artist that's also he's representing the dark side of society. And it's one thing when you see the artwork on the street, and you give it your personal meaning by your own experience and things like that. And then when you get into the mind of the actual mind of the artist, like get an insight, let's say like an interview like we have right now, it's totally a different view, and it can totally make the scene way more powerful than it already is through the drawing or the music or the sounds. So yeah, very very nice insight. Not very nice insight, very yeah, interesting to have this insight.
And No Olvidado is actually the name of the cemeteries that are like the unmarked graves of all of the remains that are found. So that's the name of the song, No Olvidado.
Okay, good. Very nice insight. And you, Mark, do you have a different opinion? Do you see another?
No, I actually was thinking of that one also, like on the composition side too, because it's bit faster tempo. Was trying out some different, music ideas to go with that. So that one actually stood out to me as well. So it's funny that it was both interesting.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it's a very, yeah, sad story, but unfortunately it's quite real. So
Mhm.
it's good on one side that we have like artists like you, for example, that choose to make an emphasis on this. And maybe, yeah, who knows, maybe draw some attention from more sides, and maybe things can change.
More
Yeah.
than anything, just that we're so grateful for all the support. Like we were saying earlier, it's felt like it hasn't been particularly challenging for us because we feel like we've gotten, well, where am I then? I feel like we've gotten such a warm reception from all of the people that we've been meeting. Just on my behalf, just a lot of gratitude and just really happy to be here. Can't wait to see everyone in person and meet them. And can't wait to continue working on all of the new material that we have going so that we have some new stuff to present to everyone. And we're just going to keep the fire burning, doing the same thing that we've been doing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
great.
Yeah, thanks everybody for the support. We'll be out, doing it as we are. And yeah, with new material coming at some point, working on it, and excited to share that with folks down the road.
And speaking of yeah, messages to the community, do you have any um what would you say to the upcoming talents, artists, let's say, people that are starting the route now in the scene, for example? Like we were talking the other day with Dark Vector, for example. We were talking about many artists that maybe don't come out from their studio or from the room because they believe they need a strong equipment, or they need a huge zillions of stuff or connections, or I don't know, things like that. What would be your advice for newcomers on
Yeah, I think that, yeah, like don't let anything be a barrier, in terms of hardware, whatever, I think getting like expressing yourself is the most important piece of that. So, work on things until you feel like you're really nailing that expression, and then that will be authentic. And, I think that's when it, I think, starts to resonate with other people, when you bring that authentic piece of yourself there.
Yeah, if you have an important message, or if you want your voice to be heard, or if you feel like there's something lacking and information that should be out there and be consumed isn't out there or readily available, especially within like certain genres, maybe you could be the first one to share that with people, and you can and make a connection. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Good advice, because yeah, we were just having, I told you, this conversation about some artists just stay there because they don't see themselves enough, or they're like, no, because that artist has this like background or this equipment or this, I don't know, and they just stay there. And yeah, it's a shame, and that's why I was
We're
curious.
just a couple of nerds from Portland. You know, we just got together and started making music, and somehow the message, the way that we delivered it, has resonated with some people. And if we could do it, you know, anybody could do it, just as long as you have the passion and don't let anything stop you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Nice. Yes, yes. Cool. Did you have concerts, private concerts for your friends before you end up on the stage? Or you
No.
just had?
No, we just, yeah, we just played our first show, was Mutant, Lunacy,
It's a great show.
Us, Physical Wash.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just jumped on stage and did it.
Yeah.
Really? Wow. Do
Yeah.
you have footage from that? We would like to see it.
Yeah. We
Probably.
have footage from that. Yeah.
If you can send it over, yeah, we definitely, I think it would be nice to show it to the community. It would be,
I have a special footage of it where I am urinating on the American flag.
Yeah, I feel like
good.
that was
Yeah,
one.
I
That
know.
was like
Want to
did
see
that
that.
one time, and then like somehow it comes up all the time.
Yeah. Well,
It's very memorable.
Yeah, it
I'll
is.
send it to you. Don't worry.
Please, thank you. Yeah, it's gold. It would be gold.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask if you consider, I'm not sure if it's the right question, but if you would prefer concerts, for example, in the US or in Europe, for example, do you think the message would be different, or the how the crowd responds if it would be different?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we've played more extensively in the United States, and I feel like in cities in which there's larger concentrations of people of Latin American, Spanish-speaking descent, there's a bit stronger of a resonation, but I don't think that takes away from anything that we've done, like playing in Sweden, for example, like at a festival like Kalevala, and like having, you know, hundreds of people, like, you know, Nordic folks like going crazy. It seems like it's resonating regardless of whether or not the lyrics are necessarily understood.
Understood.
It's the, yeah, so I think that, like, you know, bringing the energy and the passion to it, I think is what people most connect with. And then if you do look at the lyrics, understand them natively, or even translate them into whatever language you speak, then I think the message becomes even more, you know, powerful, visual.
Yeah, it's almost like a universal message. It doesn't have to be a specific country. It just has to be kind of society that you are unhappy with. And yeah, it doesn't really have to be the United States. It could be any flag, honestly.
And speaking of which, do you ever did it cross your mind that you would like to live outside the US? Would you see yourselves living, and where? That's the question. Where, if you
Ah,
thought about it, and where would you see yourselves if not the States?
That's a
that's
great
a really
question.
good question.
Yeah. I think a lot of Americans have thought over the years of leaving, and many have. I mean, yeah, like immigration being a challenge, but I feel like a lot of people ended up in Berlin, for example, but from the US. But I mean, I don't know. It's hard to imagine leaving here, but I do love to travel when I can, and to see other places and to visit with other people. I think that's pretty
Barcelona,
cool.
obviously.
I mean, you could do
Yes, you need. I think everyone should give themselves the pleasure to live for 1 year at least in Barcelona. Really, I think it's life-changing, and a lot of different experiences, being that it's so populated with zillions of nationalities and all sorts of talents, of musical movements, a lot.
Yeah.
And that would be
Yeah.
cool to take a year and just live for a year in different places, and then I'll get back to you. 'Cause I don't know
Okay.
just
Yeah,
yet. I can't
please,
settle
please,
on
please.
one just yet.
Make sure you're
Yeah.
touring in every place that you're going.
Definitely.
Did you go to Asia, for example? Did you have any gigs in Asia?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. No, some of
Okay.
our friends have been over to Japan, and it looked incredible. But yeah, I've only been to Japan, like traveling. Never played any shows, and that's the only place I've been in Asia.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's see. It's
Yeah.
it's a long year. It's a long
Yeah,
year.
it's true.
So it's time for everything. What should the listeners take from your songs when they leave the concert, for example? What should they take home, basically, in their minds, energies?
I feel like all the songs have some kind of story or narrative, regardless of whether or not that's something that, the audience identifies with. I think learning, hearing that story or being interested in learning whatever that story is, if it's not something that they can understand directly, um, is an important, I feel like Maria is very good at, you know, telling these stories and disappeared. And so a lot of care goes into the writing for her, and it shows. And I think that's the strongest takeaway, I think, from, like in terms of tangible things taking away.
And I really value when someone tells me that they like danced the whole time and they felt like the beats and they thought that the music was composed perfectly, not just the lyrics, but just I also have always enjoyed the fact that we can juxtapose a little bit of like the way that the vocals are done with like the music has been created so beautifully, and those two things, like these harsh aggressive vocals and just like the beauty of the way that the songs are composed musically, and putting them together, creating a place where you can really dance. And dance for me has always been like a form of like therapy expression, and so when people tell me, oh, I danced the whole time, I feel so good, it feels really good to let it all out. You're listening to these lyrics, you're understanding that your body's moving and you can't really understand why. Well, it's the music, and the music and lyrics together is an experience. And when everyone can, like when people tell you like, I really enjoyed myself, I really danced the whole time, to me that's like mwah, the best thing I can hear, is because we reached, that's what we wanted from the beginning. We are fighting like the systems of oppression and fucked up shit all over the world, right? Everyone, none of us are really immune to it. But together we can come together for an hour, hang out, let it all out, talk about it, dance about it, sing about it. And then when we come home, we feel like we have a sense of community where we've created a bond. And to me, like that's the best thing I could hear. That's the best experience I could have.
Yeah, truly, truly. It is. It just popped to my mind now. How did you get to collaborate with Oráculo Records? What's the story behind the Costo Humano and the Oráculo?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful story, actually.
Tell us more about it. So,
do you remember specific details you want to share? I feel like we heard from Nico, right? We got an email, we just started chatting about the music. Nico was just like, hey, I'm interested. And we were like, well, so are we. And we just came together, and it was an amazing experience. It went really smooth. We really just, we just kind of came together. There wasn't really a lot of force behind it. It just kind of happened very naturally, which is always great. Yeah.
Exactly. And we gave mode, and we were like, yes, definitely, that sounds great. Let's do this. And it was relatively quick.
Yeah, it was fast.
And it was, yeah. And
faster
I
than
think
the normal
that's,
vinyl industry movement, right?
yeah, quite.
Mhm.
Had a secret, I guess. But great. And yeah, I think we just sold out of all of our, we've gotten, some copies
Yeah.
for us to sell. and I think we're totally out.
They're
of
gone.
them.
Yeah.
Great. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Do you know what track, for example, got his attention, or how did he tell you, or he just saw the
Hmm.
concept and he contacted you?
I'm not sure if you mentioned any particular songs. Do you?
No, I don't recall a specific track. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, we need to ask him, yeah, because basically the name behind Oráculo is because he was since maybe you know the story, like in the younger times of Nico, he was basically called the Oracle of Music because he would always like dig for new music, and he was that friend in the group who brings the newest and best music to your ears. And I was, yeah, curious if he mentioned any specific track that led him to you. But we're gonna ask him, and
We're gonna ask him,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. That's great. That's great. I actually did not know that. It seems like he continues to do that.
he
So
does. Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
name is very fitting.
Yes, yeah, and he's on the lookout all the time, and I think yeah, he has this magnet, right? And then because yeah, basically that's why it's half of Ombra Festival is Oráculo Records. So yeah, we're making an unusual sounds gathering based on the treasure seeking also. So yeah. Do you want to describe a normal day of you, like the normal people, not Puerta Negra group? Is it way different you you are when you're when you're a band?
Like our individual lives.
How is
Yeah.
it?
Um, as for me, just basically, I still do work in the community, and I do a lot of translation services, and I help families connect with like food benefits, job opportunities, educational opportunities, things like that. So just working with a lot of the Spanish speaking community here in Portland and helping them connect to resources. And I do that 10 hours a day. So that's my
That
shift.
that's amazing. That's
Yes.
here. I mean,
Thank you. Yeah. So that's kind of
really providing to the community on all levels,
yeah.
your job and in your artist life, and that's great. Yeah, we need more people like that. It's good. And I think also that's where you get, fortunately or unfortunately, a lot of inspiration that's coming up your way. I think you're
Right.
a lot of emotions daily there and
Mm-hmm.
situations that are not milk and honey at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Exactly.
Congratulations. Yeah, really
Thank you.
congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks.
And Mark, what's your normal person life?
I'm between things right now. Music, lots and lots of music. I have dogs and a cat.
I have two cats.
You have two cats and two dogs. Do they get well together?
Oh,
Get
well, we don't live together, right?
so you
No,
don't either meet in the park like I know because you have cats, yeah. Some people take out their cats outside,
my
like
cats are not having that. They do not want.
they're not outdoor cats.
No.
No. Did you ever try to bring them outdoor?
They go outdoors when I open the door. They'll just like run out.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
I that's the only time I let them out is when I'm chasing them to come back in.
Okay. Are they young? Are you afraid they're gonna escape and never find them again, or you're afraid that
Yeah,
they'll fights on the street?
yeah, everything, every worry that I could have.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know cats are quite they can manage themselves also outside. Mostly if they're male cats. So yeah, I'm not sure about the female cats, but the male ones should be fine. You
Yeah.
also have a job during your normal life, or
Ideally, yeah, I'm just between stuff right now.
you're
Yeah.
sorry, what?
I'm between jobs at the moment, so I'm just focused on music and
Good.
yeah, that sort of stuff, which is really nice to have at the time.
How much time do you guys spend in the studio, in a week?
Hmm. Well, we have regular we meet up regularly to kind of either like rehearse or to work on new stuff, which is mostly what we've been doing lately. And then I try to do some every day to just to be on a schedule. I feel like I kind of need like a minimum amount of time to get into like a creative like headspace, a couple hours usually, sometimes more, but yeah, try to be pretty on a schedule. It's good for me.
I'm actually talking to you now, and you're so calm and peaceful and nice to talk to. And well, also it's nice to listen to you. But when I mean, you're way different people than when you're on the stage.
I think that's
That's
people
great.
find that funny. They're like, they come up and they're like, you're like,
Yes.
hello, and they're like, huh?
Because
Yeah.
I know I saw another interview of you guys, and you were mentioning that you're quite shy person, and I was like, yeah, you don't see that when you at all, like literally. So it's insane how an artist can jump from one state of being or a mental state, to another one, just like that, and how the energy of the crowd that we were talking about it earlier, right? That
Yeah.
it makes you it boosts uh, everything and every feeling in your body, in your mind, and you just forget about being shy or about being maybe not so open in normal circumstances and not on the stage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're very friendly. Come talk to us.
Yeah, we're very friendly.
Yeah. I cannot wait to see you in person also. Yeah, we're gonna talk
Yay.
a lot.
Yeah.
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 So it's very
Because
nice.
some people do tell us like, oh, a little intimidated or afraid to talk to you, but you're actually very nice and sweet. And
Yes.
after seeing the show, they think that we're just gonna be like pretty wild or something.
That you're
The
gonna,
same.
you're
Yeah.
gonna scream at them or something. Yeah. Yeah, it was good. But yeah,
Exactly. I would.
it's nice to see the artist behind also. That's why we also wanted to start these interviews to make also, like you were saying earlier, to be closer to the community. And I think it's quite vital so that people can also see you guys behind the scenes, because maybe, yeah, being for example, in a concert, not all the time you're gonna get the chance to talk to the artists or
Mhm.
stuff like that. And it's very nice to make a comparison, or to make the relationship between the artists and the actual human being behind the whole creative result. That's great.
Yeah.
We were mentioning, for example, if you would come to Europe to live, maybe Barcelona, Mark was mentioning Berlin. Do you have any countries that you appreciate in terms of music, or maybe like just countries in Eastern Europe, for example? Do you have your eyes set on whatever country or whatever movement in Eastern Europe? So not Central or Western.
Hmm. I've heard good things about like Poland. I was told was cool. I have not really traveled in Eastern Europe, so I'm not super familiar.
You should.
I've heard some things about Lithuania. I've heard some things about like Prague, if that counts. Yeah.
Yeah. I also
Yeah.
haven't traveled out there myself, so super open to
Well, I
just
guess we
visiting
did
different places.
Design, which is in
Mm,
Hungary. That
yeah,
counts, right? That's pretty
Hungary.
east.
We played
You
in
you went
Hungary.
in Hungary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how did you see Hungary? How do you like it? How
The
did you hear?
festival was great.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
festival itself was out in the middle of nowhere. It's like
What
2 hours
festival in,
from
in Hungary?
Feketizai.
Vale, okay.
And it's a big one there. And they brought us in. Yeah, it's like 2 hours from Budapest, so it's pretty in the middle of this, countryside, and it was beautiful.
Hmm.
That's
Um,
amazing. And good wine. Do you like wine?
Good wine.
yeah,
They had their own beer
yeah, someone brewed
for
beer
the
for the
festival.
festival.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
cool.
had amazing food. They took care of everyone really well. People came from all over to that festival, as they do every year. There's campgrounds, so people were camping out there. just gorgeous. It was beautiful, and everyone was so nice and welcoming. Yeah, so we've just been having a lot of good experiences everywhere we go, which is super amazing, and we're really grateful.
That's great, and that's great, yeah, to hear that you had a gig in Hungary. That's great, and maybe yeah, you get more also in Eastern. I'm from Romania, for example, and I tend to ask the artists, you know, like, did you check or do you have interest in Eastern Europe? And yeah, I'm quite an active promoter of Eastern Europe.
Yeah,
Nice. Yeah, we're certainly open to it.
yeah.
I have
let's
heard
go.
good things. I just haven't been. So
Yeah. But speaking of which, now another question about camping. You were mentioning that in Hungary people were camping. Are you a camping people? Do you like going camping? Does it go with your style?
You know what? I'm gonna disclose a big secret. I live in the Pacific Northwest. Camping is huge here. I have never gone camping. I just
Well,
never have. It's,
but
I know,
like
right?
the idea when
You
you
would
think
think.
about it, at least, because there's time. There's time.
Yeah, it interests me. I think there, like when I see that people go camping, there's like a lot of gear involved that I don't have. There's
yeah.
Fine.
a
If you
lot of
have
knowledge
that habit,
about
it's
things.
fine.
Exactly. And that's how they get me, because they're like, well, we have everything you need. Let's go.
Yep,
You need
And
to come. Yeah.
we do here. I'm not a big camping person. I
uh,
camped last
we
year.
don't, we haven't.
Yeah, my other band, Lizard Skin, played this festival in rural Oregon. And it was a camping festival, and we did it. And it was fun, to be honest. That was a different environment though, as
Yeah.
opposed to just going out into the woods,
It's
you know,
totally
alone.
different. Yeah.
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 Do you camp a lot?
It's been a while since I was camping, but yes, I did camp a lot before this year, not this one, 2023, not that much, but I do miss camping. Yes,
Mhm.
I like it, and also I like this. It's not like the survival mode activated, but I like the fact that you need to take care of what you eat, how you eat, prepare the food in different ways. I like burning stuff on fire, so
There you, now you're
Yeah.
talking, yeah.
I
quite
love
quite
that.
a pyromaniac. See, I mean, yeah.
There's elements of it that I love, like the scent of being out in the woods. I love the way that it's like the pines here. I love a really good fire pit.
Yeah,
See,
definitely.
that's a good start. That's a
Mhm.
good start. You just need a small tent next to it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's
Baby
nice.
steps.
Yeah. We're going to the last question. It's a community question. What do you have in your pockets at the moment?
Lint. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, nothing. I was like, yeah,
No,
let's see.
I don't have pockets.
You don't have
Handkerchief.
pockets. It was great to talk to you. Also on behalf of our community, thank you for joining us, for answering our questions.
Thank you so much again for taking time and connecting us to the Ombra community.
You're
We
so
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Definitely when we're gonna activate the membership, if you guys will have another half hour, 1 hour and something available, I think it would be great for us to share a live chat also with the audience, and for them to be even closer to you than with the Zoom meeting.
Yeah,
We're open
sounds
to that
fun.
idea.
Yeah, we're a little shy at first, but if you get us talking, then we open up.
Yes, yeah, I can feel that. Yeah, and that's and I'm also like I told you, I was quite anxious before this, but like now I told you it's very nice talking to you, and it's
Now we're buddies and it's fine.
Yeah.
So
yes,
next
perfect.
time it'll be so
That's
smooth. Yeah.
more confident now.